In 2015, there was something called Transforming Health came out. And that was, the crux of that is that there was going to be an amalgamation of services across the Queen Elizabeth and the Royal Adelaide Hospital. And as part of that, the vascular unit became one unit at the Royal Adelaide. The breast and endocrine unit moved over to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And at that time, we'd experimented with different models, because in the past we'd always had 4 surgical units sharing the general surgical emergency load and the trauma load. We tried a standalone ASU model. It didn't work at that time, and there was a decision that we needed to go back to having 4 surgical units. And so our unit, the trauma surgery unit, came into being. And I was put in charge of trying to get this unit up and running. So even though I'd taken a long time through medical school, and I took quite a while to get through surgical training, once I became a consultant, things actually started to speed up, and I became a head of unit after only being a consultant for 3 years. And my aim was not to be the best of anything, but my aim was actually to make this unit work. So, and more than that, I wanted to make it a great unit. And it wasn't about me, it was actually about getting a brand new clinical unit up and running and really working well. So what did I do to be able to do that? I established a formal trauma roster, because prior to that it was always pretty ad hoc. We had Peter Bouts, who's the senior trauma surgeon here. He would go on most nights, and if he wasn't on, he wasn't on, and then you just sort of ring around to see whoever you could get. I tried to get our emergency surgery processes a bit more consistent, so we got better rosters happening. I subsequently developed clinical pathways in emergency surgery, particularly for common emergency surgery conditions. So these are things like small bowel obstructions, cholecystitis, perianal disease. I didn't write that myself, but I sort of got the colorectal guys to do that for us. Mesenteric ischemia, these are just a few. I got us enrolled in the College of Surgeons initiative called the Emergency Laparotomy Audit, which is a quality improvement program to manage emergency laparotomies. And I got the unit enhanced with additional staff. So we started with 1 intern, we went to 2 interns, we had 1 RMO initially, we now got to 4 RMOs. We got a set trainee, and to get a set trainee, there's quite a few processes that you have to go through to be able to get that. And probably the last thing I did before I finished up as the head of unit is that I got a fellow position. We've always had a fellow, accredited by the Australian and New Zealand Association of Surgical Trauma. So that's now a formalised trauma training fellow position. The other thing I'd done during this time is I tried to nurture all of our junior staff, our ASU registrars and our service registrars coming through, partly because that is what had been done to me by people like Martin Bruning and Guy Maddern. And we had a lot of our ASU registrars then progressed onto the surgical program, which was, great. I've always felt very proud about that. And so I became the hospital supervisor for the set training program. I don't remember what year that was, but subsequently became the chair of the local training board. I think it was at the end of 2020.